I work at the warehouse every night, getting home between 4 and 6 in the morning. After each exhausting shift, all I want to do is collapse onto my bed and give in to sleep. Even if I'm able to stay awake the entire time I'm driving, I feel strangely sleepy. I pull up to my house after parking, my steps heaving with tiredness. I stumble upon the mattress after climbing the stairs and am immediately met by the opulent feeling of slipping into its softness. I go into a deep sleep that shrouds my senses like a cloak as a result of my exhaustion. I'm startled awake, confused, and much more exhausted than before. My thoughts are clouded by confusion as I look out the window only to discover that it is pitch black outside. Even though it seems like just a few seconds have gone since I closed my eyes, the darkness is still opaque. I move over in bed to try to wake up, but when I do, my eyes notice something is wrong. Normally tightly closed, the bedroom door is now wide open. My breath catches in my throat, and my heart skips a beat. I automatically feel a sense of dread since I never leave the door open, not even on the sluggishest of nights. I get out of bed slowly, moving slowly as I make my way through the darkened house. I see the length of the corridor in front of me, navigating the pitch-black space with caution. My dearly held habit of locking my bedroom door runs through my head. At that very time, a disturbing sound reverberates throughout the entire home as the door snaps shut behind me. My blood freezes at the sound, which lasts only for a brief instant before giving way to an unsettling silence. The ensuing silence is deafening, which intensifies the unease I've been feeling. I gather my confidence, take a deep breath, and reopen my door, letting suspicion and doubt guide me along the dimly illuminated hallway. I fight the inescapable impression of an ominous presence lurking in the shadows with each step. The door of my second bedroom, which is closed, draws both relief and caution. I hear a loud, agonizing noise coming from the other side of the house as I close the door. It comes on suddenly, jolting me out of my reverie and making me wonder if my haven is safe. The bed and dresser in the room in front of me are harmless items without any explanation for the unsettling sound. The hallway starts to creak, sounding like a door slowly releasing itself from its frame. My heartbeat quickens, an unsettling indicator of how afraid I'm becoming. I lean over, and as soon as I see what I do, a scream of terror erupts from my mouth. A man comes out of the closet, the darkness hiding his face. His eyes spark with recognition, matching the expression of amazement on my own face. My body is paralyzed by a concoction of shock, bewilderment, and horror. Time seems to stop in that eerie moment when our eyes meet. I slam the door shut and quickly lock it as though my life relies on it, as an overwhelming sense of fear grabs me. A hasty cacophony of footsteps descends the stairs before disappearing into the darkness. I struggle to find my phone as I struggle to dial 911 with shaking hands as numbness overtakes me. As I describe the intruder's presence in a panicked manner, the response doesn't provide much comfort. When the police show there, their words sound like a distant murmur as they reach my ears. There are no indications of a forced entrance, therefore their explanation that I might not have secured the front door sounds ludicrous. A seemingly unimportant detail, but this time I'm confident that I've locked it. My anxiety and perplexity combine with my doubt to form a confusing concoction of feelings. Unbelievably, I recognize the man. I just don't know where. Could it have been a chance meeting? Nothing was taken, adding to the mystery. He may have opened my bedroom door while I was fast asleep. I'm terrified at the idea of someone disturbing my sleep. Maybe he saw me and changed his mind. There is still some uncertainty, and paranoia sets in. I can't get over this situation without worrying about his motives and thinking what he might have done differently. I made the decision to take a week off work and have a staycation at home last winter. After my roommate left, I lived alone for a while and enjoyed the freedom of solitude, which was a luxury I hadn't had much of before. This was supposed to be a time for me to decompress and take a quiet retreat. But then, shockingly, things change, shattering my sense of security. I enjoyed simple pleasures on the second day of my holiday, such as watching TV and relishing home-cooked meals. I was relaxing on the couch when I heard an odd noise. There were steps near my porch, but there was no knock or doorbell ringing. I peered through the peephole out of curiosity and saw a man in his mid-40s wearing blue pants and a light jacket. He pretended to be looking for something elusive as he stood to one side and scanned the area. I stayed back since I wasn't sure what he was trying to do. He waited for several minutes without going outside or going to the door. My nerves were rattled as his actions became stranger. He finally made a corner and sped off, hopping into a nearby parked car. I dismissed the occurrence, assuming it was just a one-off anomaly. Later that evening, there was a knock that disturbed the peace. The same man greeted me when I opened the door, grinning artificially while he pretended to have car issues and that he needed to call someone. I felt deceit, and when I recognized the earlier car, my suspicion grew. I told him no, and you could see his annoyance before he walked away. He started banging on the door in a fit of rage, which made me threaten to call the police. He backed away but then turned around and approached my house's left side. I called 911 out of alarm and readiness for the worst. A loud bang resounded from the dining room, just as I cut the call short. I sped there and discovered the man trying to crawl inside the broken window. I struggled to defend myself out of fear, but he outweighed me and dragged me toward the entrance. He was surprised by the arrival of a passerby, which allowed me to flee. The intrusive person ran away and vanished into the night. He eluded the cops when they arrived while they were taking my statement. The following evenings were restless, with fear and anxiety persisting. Every sound now posed a danger. My once safe refuge was tainted by a feeling of violation as the invader's motives remained a mystery. To reclaim my peace of mind and get rid of the darkness he had created, I knew I had to move. In the end, my sanctuary had been violated, and I was left wondering why he had done it. The recollection of that evening serves as a constant reminder that security can be brittle and that the line separating it from vulnerability is frequently closer than we'd like to think. I lived alone in a peaceful city, tucked away in a worn-out townhouse, relishing the seclusion it gave. I once came home at 11 o'clock in the evening after a late work shift. I noticed an odd sight as I rolled into the shared driveway. The front door of the townhouse next door was wide open. The house was still completely in the dark, suggesting that its residents may have unintentionally left the door ajar before turning in for the night. I laughed inside, brushed it off as a minor error, and went inside my house. I made some cheesy nachos and settled in while watching a gripping drama on Netflix. I resigned myself to going to bed because I had to work early the next day. I could hear soft thuds coming from my neighbor's side of the linked wall as I was lying there. They usually kept to themselves, so this was odd. I ignored it and dimmed the lights in the hopes of getting a good night's sleep. After a few minutes, just as I was starting to nod off, the peace was abruptly broken by a loud noise. A single vicious blow was used to break open my front door, and it reverberated throughout the night. I was forced out of bed and into the hallway by a wave of panic. My front door was open, and the floor was littered with pieces of wood. The intruder had disappeared, and their quick getaway was obvious. I could hear footsteps pounding through my living room in the stillness. The existence of several intruders was proved by the presence of several pairs of feet. I made an effort to flee to my bedroom, but a stern voice stopped me. Two men in masks stood before me, looking menacing. One carried a baseball bat, the other a threatening metal instrument for breaking down my front door. I obliged with their requests because I was paralyzed by fear and knew that to resist would make the situation worse. My head was crushed against the ground while I was being held down by one of them, while the other searched through my belongings and put things in his rucksack. My cries for mercy were ignored during the turbulent times. The situation suddenly became more tense as one of the burglars hurried back to the hallway while agitatedly talking to his companion about something outdoors. They came back, pushing me back to the ground, which increased the stress. They were hurling threats, and I felt a flash of panic. I tried to reason with them out of desperation, but my pleadings appeared to make them more aggressive. They were suddenly drawn outside by a disturbance. 4 police officers quickly and unexpectedly encircled the home before they could react. The intruders were cornered, captured, and the situation was over. It appears that they also had their sights set on my neighbor's townhouse, but they were unable to get away. The men, regular people motivated by the need for quick money, discovered that they were responsible for their acts. I managed to escape with only a bruised knuckle and a broken door. Their choice to fight me rather than run seemed dumb in retrospect. The encounter was the most horrifying thing I had ever gone through. It was like a nightmare intrusion into my haven. I counted a blessing that the unanticipated course of events resulted in their arrest and detention. I'm reminded of the perilous nature of safety and the unpredictable nature of human propensity for violence as the episode fades from my memory.